Welcome everybody to another episode of the Jacque Show. I'm really excited to have this particular guest on. This is Dana. And so Dana she's a holistic hairstylist, and she actually literally stumbled across our doorstep. Megan had known her from different retreats. She came to an energy healing session at our home, and we got to talking, and Dana brings this amazing fresh view of what it takes to be healthy, and she approaches it from a holistic standpoint when it comes to the hair. She's been a hairstylist for a while now, but she's owned her own business for quite some time. She is also working at tapping deeper into the awakened soul leadership. She's an energy guide, again, holistic salon owner. She kind of does everything here. But the cool thing is she has been able to ride these waves of evolution through her journey to be where she is today. So I'm excited to share the world of holistic salon and holistic hair care with you, and then talk about why it's important. So be sure to tune in, stick around for the whole episode, and thank you again for listening to the Jacque Show. All right, Dana, thank you so much for joining me on the Jacque Show today. I'm so grateful that we were able to get this schedule. I know we had some rescheduling that took place, but I think this is going to be a very value-packed session here today with you, the holistic hairstylist. And I wanted to have you kind of introduce yourself and ultimately how you got into this line of work.
Yes, I'm Dana. I've been a hairstylist for 12 years now. And my journey into being a hairstylist started at a pretty young age. I actually started hair school while I was in high school.
Awesome.
So it was kind of like one of those things where I was just like not sure what I wanted to do with my life, assumed college would be the route. And my mom actually pushed me to do hair. And it was this art that I ended up falling deeply in love with. So I've been doing hair since I was 18 years old professionally. Wow. And now I'm almost 30. So
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's great that your mom was able to kind of, guide you in a way that it wasn't forcing you to do college. Like I know my parents did. I'm grateful for it. Obviously where I am today is due to that, but that's really unique that you've been able to have that experience and step into that at such an early age. That's great.
Yeah, it was a beautiful journey. And I think it was funny because I'm the third sibling. I'm the youngest.
Okay.
And both my sisters did the college path. So I think my parents were like relieved to not have to pay for college when it came to me. They're like, you want to do hair? Go do hair.
Do whatever you want. We'll bail you out as much as you need if necessary.
Yes,
no, that's great. Exactly. So I know that you started off in hair, and you have a unique story too. So you did just standard hairstyling, standard products and things. And then why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and then to transition into becoming a holistic salon owner, and what does that even mean for the listeners out there?
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, started the holistic journey. For myself, it was about 5 years ago, just like non-toxic living and being more awakened to like what is in our products, what is in everything in our world, ingredients and all the things. So it started with my diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis. Actually, when I was 19 years old, I was told that I should probably find a new career path because it's going to be crippling to me, and all of these, status quo things that they say, and all the things about arthritis that they say is going to cause the inflammation and blah, 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 blah. So through a lot of doctors and a lot of trials and tribulations, I stepped into this new role of holistic hair, and through the journey of like my own health, like awakening, I would say it's an awakening because that's really what got me on the spiritual path. Like being told that I wasn't able to do something like right when my career started was like, holy shit. Like I just started this a year ago and now you're telling me I can't do it. But my body was screaming at me like that something needed to be changed. And I worked in a full-size salon under different ownerships. And I worked at a franchise kind of salon establishment where I cut a lot of men's hair. And I kind of did all of the things like in all of the environments and learned that like our industry is very toxic
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, like with the people and the way that we give the services and just the ingredients and everything that we are using on the hair too. It's a very toxic place.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually what created my autoimmune disease to begin with, was being in this environment, being around the toxic chemicals and being around people who were very draining, very exhausting, not connected, just like gossipy and toxic in all the ways, you know. So it was just like this whole awakening within myself that I needed to navigate this and be in all those environments to realize that I wanted something different, and I wanted to be like a change maker in the industry. So I switched to the holistic side 3 years ago, and it was a very beautiful awakening again. That was another layer of it all. So
well, sometimes it's you know, certain chapters of our lives are designed to be a certain length, in my opinion. And it's like sometimes we get that yearning, or a lot of people deal with like anxiety and sometimes depression because they know that they're called for something more or called for something different, but they don't know quite what that is yet. And it could just be because the chapter isn't quite closed. And I feel like, you know, when we've talked, when you were in our kitchen, like you had that level of connection with yourself through, you know, your plant medicine journeys and some of these other journeys you've been able to do, and you use awakening. And I think that's the closing of the chapter, and you awaken to the new. And I remember when I was doing national boards for chiropractic school, one of the questions, I know for a fact this is a question on, I forget what part, I think it was part 4 boards, or maybe it was part 3. On one of the boards, it was, if you're working with a hairstylist, like what is the most common type of cancer that a hairstylist is going to get? And it was bladder cancer. And to me, I'm like, well, if you know that you're going to have a high risk for bladder cancer, I believe it was due to like all the aerosols and the chemicals just constantly being in the air. I'm like, why would you even choose that profession? And we can all kind of think of when we go to our standard hair salons, or even just like, you know, Great Clips or something down the street, it has like a certain smell to it. But hair salons, you've got all of those chemicals and it kind of burns the nostrils. And to the people who are working there, they don't even know. They don't smell it anymore because they become so desensitized to that. And so with the chemicals and things, I know you've done research on this. What were some of the things that you were becoming aware of in hair products that were chemicals that definitely shouldn't be in cosmetics?
I mean, there's such a long list of so many things, but like everything that is like a silicone, and it's wild. I've gone into Target before and I've picked up a can of hairspray and it literally had butane in it.
What?
Like butane, like
lighter
lighter.
fluid. Wow.
Yeah. So it's just wild, the little things that they put in hair products. Like that was just like like mind blowing to me that it had butane. Like your hair is so flammable at that point. It's just gonna light up. Like be careful where you're walking around. But there's even a longer list of things, because there's like also another level to that is like professional versus just like drugstore products, you know, going into Target and seeing that there's butane in it. Like that is even worse, like the $5 hairspray versus the $20 hairspray versus the $50 hairspray. Like there's so many levels to like what these ingredients are. It's kind of like organic versus non-organic. And like that's what I use too. I use all organic products in my salon. But one big thing I was noticing in my salon was I actually started getting like contact dermatitis from the styling products that I was using. And even though it wasn't like drugstore, it was better quality. It was professional quality products, but these professional quality products still had ingredients in them that were, they like, you read the label and there's 25 plus ingredients in it. And you're like, what do these words even mean? And you can look it up and see like all the ingredients and know that they're endocrine disruptors and they affect the hormones and they affect the skin. Like our skin is our largest organ, and like I'm touching that all day long when I'm spraying things on people's hair and running my hands through it and breathing it in, like the aerosols, like you said. I'm inhaling that all day, and I did become so desensitized to it. And even fragrance has so many chemicals in it, and hair product is loaded with so much synthetic fragrance. It's wild that like that is like another thing that I became so sensitive to was the smells, like inside the salon. Like you're saying, when I stepped out of that environment and realized like how much fragrance was like compounded in the place. Like now when I go into some salons or some environments, like I'm so sensitive to the smell. I'm like, how did I do this for those years of being in that environment? So and I was, getting headaches and like the contact dermatitis. Like I said, my hands were always like raw and broken out, and it was just normalized. Like it was just like that's what we did. Like we touched lightener and like color all the time, all day long. And I was like, nope, that's a part of it. Like this is just the job. Like you're okay. And then women have all these issues and have all of these like health concerns that I was seeing like in my salon. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like it's normal, that I should just be putting on some steroid cream after like working with chemicals all day long to help with whatever's popping up on my skin. So
what was the first, was it just the contact dermatitis that was the first thing that you noticed when you're like, wait a second, I think something may be going on here?
Yeah, that was for sure one of the first things that happened. And we actually used to do something called Brazilian blowouts in our salon. And I think that also triggered a lot of stuff. Yeah. So Brazilian blowouts also have formaldehyde in them. Oh, so that was another great.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just preserving your hair. So it's bulletproof basically. But that like literally, when you cut into an onion and that smell, like that crying sensation you get when you would flat iron a Brazilian blowout, it would make your eyes water. Like we would literally wear goggles with it because we're like trying to protect ourselves from it. And like my sense of smell started like my nose actually started hurting. It was like hard to explain, but it was like the chemicals going up inside my sinuses that like my nose was starting to hurt, and I was like getting inflammation like in my sinuses too.
Oh my gosh.
That was just another wild thing. So there was like a lot of layers of things. And I didn't have body awareness at that time too. So I didn't know that I wasn't feeling good, that like my sense of smell was being affected, that eczema wasn't normal. I just thought it was because my hands were in water all day. So like, okay, that was normal.
Well, we tend to make up excuses for things that we don't necessarily understand. And our bodies, our minds are really great at that. We want to put a known to an unknown. And when you talk to other stylists and you know somebody who's been in the industry 10 plus years ahead of you, and you're like, is this normal? And they're like, oh yeah, that's totally normal. Here's the cream that I found that worked. And it's like you just kind of deal with it. But like you said, our skin is our biggest organ, and anything we put on our skin gets absorbed within about 30 seconds. So when you're talking the scalp and you're putting toxic chemical, you're putting butane. I'm thinking just in the Arizona heat, like if you catch the wrong windshield and just poof, that's what I'm thinking. But really, I mean, like I remember a friend of ours owned a salon, and she was starting to go more like the holistic route because she was having issues with her hands too. And she would filter me clients who had mental issues, hormonal issues, depression, anxiety, migraines, headaches, like some weird, pretty intense things. And she was realizing too that a lot of the products that she was using was also contributing to that. And I'm almost thinking, like, I know we didn't talk about this beforehand or anything, but like it would be really cool if you had like your own little like school tutorial that you could find to like sell to hairstylists, or like, listen guys, like we have to change this, not just for yourselves, but to do a better service for your clients. And so neither one of you guys are ending up toxic. Like if you had like a course of like, hey, instead of this, use this. And it was like a modular webinar. I don't know. This is just how my mind works. And like more people need to know about this, which is why we're also here.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. So there's,
I do have a little holistic hair care guide that I have created. So
awesome.
A course would be an amazing thing to add on top of that.
Yeah. Because I have patients who are hairstylists, and a lot of them are aware. They're like, I don't like doing it. There was one girl I was working with. She was trying to get pregnant. We were able to help her with the pregnancy. And she's like, I know that my salon is toxic. So I want to try to pull out as much as I can, especially when I'm pregnant, because I don't want to breathe that stuff in. And so there's this gap where we know it's bad, but we don't know what to replace, or, some of the organic stuff out there may not work as well in thought or in theory. Like, I don't know if it's going to work. And then a lot of the times the organic stuff tends to be a little bit more expensive. So it's finding that reasonable justification, that strong why. Like, why should I pay a little bit more for holistic hair care? I almost said healthcare, but it's the same thing, really. Why should you do it? And it's to preserve yourself, to preserve your hair, and to protect yourself. Do you see that a lot of stylists also struggle with kind of that in between where they know it's bad, but they don't know where to go?
For sure. And I think exactly what you said, where like organic products don't work as good, is like that belief with it. And I think we are coming into an era where like natural is beautiful now, and we're like having a big shift in our beauty industry as is anyway. So like 5-10 years ago when I first started in the industry, especially, like it was heavily like people wanted that heavy highlight, that heavy change, and wanted these things that were
Yeah.
like, so unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like this beautiful shift I've seen. And that's also why I've like loved the holistic side so much more, because like so many of like my women like and men are actually like growing out their gray and like allowing that to be natural and looking for more of those lived in colors, so they don't have to maintain their hair every 6 weeks. So it's this beautiful shift in the industry. Like I was going from like seeing my clients to every 4 weeks now to seeing them like every 2 or 3 months. And it's
Wow.
like amazing because like, I do use these products, but I charge more because of what I'm using. And that's a big thing too in the industry, is like charging your worth. And that was like another toxic thing in our industry, is like people are so afraid to like create a service that's like worth paying for.
Yeah.
And like that is like I have like a higher level that I'm offering to my clients because I'm so informed on what I'm using. I know why the organic products work. And I figured them out enough to make them work just as good as the alternative stuff. And also, like the alternative stuff, like the colors and the products, like they might work better, but it's like a band-aid effect. I know the band-aid effect in the health industry, like where you put silicone on your hair to make your hair look sleek and shiny, and it's really not actually healthy. It just is like this band-aid over it, making it look healthy. So people's hair, is like going through these crazy like hair loss things and crazy shedding cycles and all of this stuff because their hair is like so dehydrated and just needing moisture, but the silicone is just like sitting there and blocking it. So it's actually so much better for your hair, just like if you eat a whole food diet or if you hydrate your body internally, like you're doing the same thing for your hair with those natural ingredients.
So that's something that I wasn't aware of. One, I didn't know. Like I know the hair care and keeping up with it, you have to be on top of it, or, in theory, you should be on top of it. But every 4 weeks or even, 2 months or so to still go and like get toxic products in your hair, that's like once a month dumping literally like poison on there. And I know that I have looked up on like ewg.org, like the verified products and stuff. And I've put some different hair care things in there because like different divisions of like who I work with, or like different sects of what I work with, they use different products. And then like it's weird, it's like a product will come in and claim one thing, and then all of these people will start having these horrible symptoms. I'm like, what the heck is this? And the coloring of the products are always going to be green, and a lot of times it's white and beautiful contrast, maybe some bamboo or some natural wood looking stuff. And it's like you throw it in ewg.org and it's like, will cause cancer, will disrupt your hormones. So it's like, holy crap. It's like you're trying to save money on your hair, but then you're paying doctors, myself or just medical doctors, more money on prescriptions to treat the symptoms that are coming from your toxic hair care. This is insane to me. I think I know things need to change. Like this has to change.
Yeah. It's a really beautiful awakening in like the beauty industry, because again, like that band-aid effect of like those like fad diets and all the fad things that we like do to like fit in and like follow these trends. But in reality, when you're doing your hair in this way, when you're doing it in an organic approach or like a more natural approach, like you're going to have sustainable hair, if that makes sense, and sustainable beauty. It's not just going to like wither away so quickly. I mean, there's so many things that I love, like just sharing to my clients about like that band-aid effect and like that like I even share like health stuff with my clients, because when we take the band-aid off, like from the product, like say you have the silicone in your hair or like whatever you have, like our hair is actually a huge indicator of our health too. Like I know you do hair analysis tests, but I can literally see if my clients have like products on their hair, and if their hair is like really dry, I'm like, you might be dehydrated, you might just need to like get some minerals in your system and drink some water, or like figure that out. Or like if they're flaky scalps and stuff, like sometimes I feel like it can be gut stuff. So like I'll just like point out little things and tell my clients like maybe you should like go to a doctor for that. And like when they take the band-aid away of like all those like synthetic products, like they can actually see what their hair is trying to tell them or their skin is trying to tell them. Like these parts of our body and our system are always trying to communicate with us, like as you know. So that's another big thing. Our hair is always trying to communicate with us because it has like our hair is almost like our sixth sense. Like in indigenous cultures, they were so connected to their hair and the communication of nature and like everything around us. So like that's why I also love the natural approach to hair, because it keeps us connected to that like sense, like our sixth sense, our connection to like our world around us.
Do you think
if you have a shitty product on it, you're just like cutting that
blunting it off
away, so,
Do you feel like a lot of this is like an egoic thing as well, where, you know, like people will just use birth control for an example, where, you know, people have horrible cycles or their doctors will say, hey, you've got this going on, just take this birth control. And so people get so heavily rooted in like, I have to take this or I have to do this in order for me to uphold my health, or for hair, like to make my hair look this good. Do you feel like I'm sure that there is, but do you feel like there's this egoic death that kind of has to occur to be like, listen, like you're going to go through some disappointment in the beginning when you take those products and things off, because your hair is going to start communicating to you again, and then you're going to be able to figure out what you truly need, and then you nourish it. Do you think that may also be a little bit of why those products are still in use?
Oh yeah, like 1000%. Like even using hot tools and flat irons and coloring it, like there's a level to yourself that you have to just like be okay with natural and like know that like even bodies and like as women, like we are just so like in this construct that we have to like look a certain way or be a certain way or like achieve this thing and like have our hair done to look like put together. But like I wear my hair natural like almost every day at the salon, just because like I believe that like if I'm a reflection of that for women, then like they'll be more comfortable in their own skin. And that's like my belief is like just being that, you know, reflection of natural beauty, because I think like more women need to claim that. More women need to like claim their natural hair and their gray. And like I don't color my hair. I haven't ever really colored my hair a whole lot, and like I'm okay with that. And I think it's like our hair is our identity though as women. It's like the crown we never take off. So you know, women like when they go through dramatic changes will chop their hair off or you know, color it a certain color, all of these things. And there's so much emotion attached to the hair, and that's what's such a beautiful thing. Like me being like the way that I communicate and consult with my clients, like I can see when they're doing something from an emotional standpoint. And like, I know like that's like an important thing too, like a holistic stylist. Like I feel like in that realm, I go deeper in my consultation to know my client a little bit more, to like know if they're making a rash decision or like about to just chop their hair off and then hate me tomorrow, you know? So like those are the kind of conversations we have. We actually have deeper conversations to know where things are rooted from. So it's like, yes, you're totally right on like, we think that we need to keep up with the status or something, but sometimes it's like, you just need someone to talk to and like talk you off that ledge of like jumping off to like chop your hair off or go crazy color, all of these things. And sometimes we feel like we need to claim this new identity, so we color our hair, we chop it to like claim this part of ourselves. Or hair also holds on to like, you know, a lot of energy, so sometimes we need to release that energy and cut it off in that way. So there's so many different aspects of like how we can communicate with our hair, exactly like you said. So finding the root of it and making sure it's not coming from an egoic place or from fear or from all of these like crazy emotions that we as women carry.
I mean, I think one of the biggest trends that swept through, at least in my lifetime, was the posh, the Spice Girls, the posh hairstyle. Is that what it's called? The posh, whatever, posh spice. That like swept the nation. But to kind of also compound on your point there is like, that was just one person who did it, and then all these women were like, I think I should do that too. And it wasn't from like is this good for me? It's like, I want to look different. I don't want to look like myself. I want to look like that. And I think that I know that this is like already a great conversation, because we're going multiple levels deep, and I was going to bring it up and then you did it, so this is perfect. But when you work with somebody like you are doing more of like a body consult, not just like a hair consult. You're figuring out who the body is in front of you, who the spirit is, who are you in front of me today. And I can't tell you any hairstylist I've ever met that cares about that, or again, like somebody to talk to. Usually it goes into like I'm sorry I was late. I got cut off in traffic. I hate my spouse and my kids suck, and it just like compiles, and then they're like, oh, okay, it's gossip hour. So then it's gossip about this client, and then this one, and this one, and this one, and so like sometimes there's like this addictive component where it's like toxic therapy that people are doing while they're putting toxic products on their hair, and you aren't that way. So it's like you're going to have to do a detox to work with somebody like Dana here. But the cool thing is, Dana, you are able to help people not just locally, right? Your reach is much farther, correct?
Yeah, for sure. So that's like something beautiful I've like learned just in my journey of like doing retreats for women, and like my expansion past like just doing hair, my network. I've learned that so many people live like not in Arizona, in my hometown. So I created a journey, like a Zoom consultation, where I can like hold space for an hour for somebody to like talk about their hair, learn the relationship with their hair, like go a little bit deeper about their hair, and then also like learn about products, non-toxic products, like everything like to do with like holistic hair care. Yeah. So for the people that don't have the stylist who wants to get to know them so much, and like not saying that they're a bad stylist, these stylists are amazing at what they do. There's just another level of like that leadership of like owning your space and owning who's sitting in your chair, not owning them, but like owning the space to like bring out.
We all get it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So just like allowing the safety to create safety in that space, like that's so important for me. And sometimes when you have that information going to a salon, then like you know what to do with that information and like what you're looking for. So I've created the Zoom calls to be able to like do that with clients, where I can inform them on all the things and help them like maybe find a stylist in their area that is like more aligned with what I do and like the same color I use. And also just learning about products, because there's so much we learn like from like organic versus like professional, because there's professional and then there's organic, like holistic. It's like synthetics. So there's two levels. Yeah, exactly. So I can like go on a journey with them and talk about that, and then I'll send them like a guidebook after it to like go over everything we talked about and all the products I recommended, so that they feel informed. I like one of the biggest things when I started doing hair, I remembered like I have two sisters and my mom, so we grew up in a household full of women. I remember having all of these products, like with no knowledge of what to do, and they would just compile in the bathroom underneath the counter. And like you'd have like 50 of them under there between all of us. And we're like, what are these products? What are they for? And then I end up just using one thing out of that, like for a month, and then like on to the next one, and then on to the next one. Like for one, those products have an expiration date, but people use them far past their expiration. So you're using toxic products that are expired. So that's also one thing. So I just love having like allowing women to be informed on the products that they're using, how to use them in their hair, what's actually good, like customized to their hair, what their hair needs, and like having that information is so important to know what to use. So throw out all the other stuff. You don't need it.
Well, the cool thing is, or another cool thing is that, and I think we could talk about this. I think it's fine. When you came to the house, like your energy is like kind of ridiculous in a good way. Like your energy, like you can, like when you come in the room, you're like, something changed, not in a negative way. It's like, this is really good. Like, what is it? And so you're very inviting. Like when you show up somewhere, it's like you have this gravitational energy about you. People just want to come and talk to you. It's very easy to talk to you. And then we started talking about, I think it was ayahuasca, right? Where you were dancing with the snake a little bit, and then you were helping to heal others kind of energetically, correct?
Yep.
So like you're able to blend in like this perfection in yourself, and then this energetic embodiment of like, hey, I've done work behind the scenes to bring me to who I am. And so it's not just like, hey, I'm coloring your hair today. It's like you bring all of those experiences all into one experience for that particular person. And I think that's what makes you really unique. And what I hope to happen is that you have consults with everybody who's listening, and then I feel that the industry will then start to change because the industry is going to meet the demands of the client or the patients. And if they can't keep up with the patient's requests, then they have to either change or they have to go out of business. And I don't wish anybody to go out of business. I wish for people to change and grow with the rising tide of being healthier, being cleaner, being more holistic. So this is like, I have all these grandiose visions for you of like what I would love to see happen. And hopefully this can start to like begin that conversation with people and really see the value as to why you should and why you need to do this when it comes to approaching the hair. What things do you see from a health standpoint? I guess let's go with like the most if someone's like, well, why would I need to, or what would make me say that I should switch products besides the obvious? What would you say if somebody's like on the fence of doing it? What advice would you kind of give them as to why they should book a consult with you or do a holistic hair treatment?
I think all women can connect with that story that I said about the product under the bathroom sink and just the confusion that you leave a salon, you'll buy products and then you'll not really know how to use it. So it's just like that confused state of like, what the fuck do I do with my hair? You know?
Yep.
So I think that's the biggest part of it, is that like, it's just that information is so vital to like knowing and being informed with what you're putting on your skin, on your head, on your hair, and like why, the why behind it, you know? Like I think I can stand for all women when I say like all my clients come in looking for guidance, like trying all these new products, buying products from the sales, or buying products like you know, like within marketing that they get drawn into to get that like 50% off or buy one get one free whatever product. So I think just knowing what you're using is like enough to help the confusion.
Okay. Yeah. And I know that I can attest to that too from, you know, I had two sisters and my mom, and there was plenty of hair products. They were the brightest colored things in the world. I had no idea what half the stuff was, but what I've learned with how Megan was going through it is she was trying different things, and then we would accumulate products, the holistic products, but like we would accumulate more. And then she was like, okay, I finally found the one that I needed. And so like in theory, people are like, well, organic means it's more expensive. But in reality, if you buy 30 products for, you know, $20 or whatever, that has its own cost versus if you just bought one for $50. Yeah, it's more expensive, but that's all you need. That's it. And you can treat yourself naturally. And again, you're not paying excess amount of fees to come and see me or find, you know, cures for these miraculous things that are going on inside your body. Like, I don't know what the heck is going on here. I'm falling apart. I've got RA or some other form of autoimmunity. What do I do? There's a big niche here for you in this, because I honestly don't know anybody else who's really doing this. And that's why I'm excited with this conversation.
Yeah. One more thing that came in when you were talking about that was actually the organic products I use are more concentrated. Okay. So you actually do get like more bang for your buck, if you want to say that. So like, yes, you're investing more into it, but you're getting more use out of the product, because like drugstore products are so watered down. It's like chemical, a ton of water, and then that's what you get. So with the organic product, you get like aloe vera, you get shea butter, you get all these like beautiful ingredients in it that are heavily concentrated with only a little bit of water, because you use the water in the shower. So they don't put heavy water in the product because you're going to be using water. So it allows your product to go a lot further. So it's an investment, but it's an investment in so many more ways than just like an organic thing. It's actually like exactly what you said, for your health, for your benefit, for your endocrine system, for your energy, for all of it.
Yeah. And I always find it fascinating too. And I'm big in, I'll just say, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm kind of like a factuist. I'm just making that up. Factualist, maybe. Make up all these words. But when you think about like what you said aloe vera, shea butter, right? Like organic, like you can find them ingredients. And then you find these lab ingredients where like you look at the back of the product and you've got numbers and letters and H's and O's, and it's like you're playing tic-tac-toe with numbers. Like, what the hell is any of this? And that stuff is cheaper. It's lab created, researched in, like, all of this stuff is formulated in a lab. That is cheaper than something you can find in nature. That blows my mind. And to me, when I'm like, oh, conspiracy theorists, I'm like this stuff is designed to make you sick. Like, it's not a surprise. Like, again, like, we know organic is going to be better for you. When we're using chemicals, it's going to be toxic for you. Like, to me, that shit shouldn't even be on the shelves. It shouldn't even be an option. So I get really flustered because I just feel like it's just constantly feeding us down the pipeline, because then you would have been on like an immunosuppressant or something like that, massive anti-inflammatory, maybe naltrexone or something like that, to work with treating your RA, and then you have the side effects from those medications, which continue to make you a consumer for the rest of your life. Versus if you're like, well, I'm going to spend a little extra money on this product and not have any of that. I get fired up, as you can tell.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can definitely confirm that, because I did go on methotrexate for a short period of time. And the wild thing is that it's immunosuppressant. So I work around people. Yeah. I'm around people all sick season, you know, all I'd say in quotations, it's like sick season. But I would have like this, I would take my medicine, and during cold and flu season when everyone's sick, but really it's just because everyone's hustling and like the energy is so intense. I was sick for 4 months straight. I took antibiotics for 4 months straight. My gut was wrecked. My system was wrecked. So like it got to a point where I would rather not take methotrexate and deal with my arthritis than to deal with the side effects of this medicine I was taking. Like, I would take it would wipe me out. I would be exhausted. I wouldn't be able to hold space for my clients. I wouldn't be able to hold conversation. Energetically, I was exhausted. Physically, I was exhausted. Mentally, I was exhausted. You know, this is 10 years ago that all of this was happening. So this was like really those moments where like you hit the fork in the road and you have to decide, am I going to do hair? Am I going to take this medicine, or am I going to make a change? And like, I came to that fork and I made the change, and I went the holistic route, and everything in my life changed after that. And it's just like continuing to evolve so much in all ways.
How was your support through that? I know your mom was very supportive with helping you, kind of get, you know, encouraging you to go the hairstylist route. When you were like, I'm quitting what I know, basically, and I'm going to convert into being holistic and doing like your embodiment consults, did you have a lot of support, or were people like, you're crazy, why are you doing that?
I think my biggest thing was like, my mom always like said, be your own advocate, but she said it in a place that was like the most beautiful thing, because those words stick with me still to this day. Like, be your own advocate. That's the first thing I heard when I was 18 years old.
Awesome.
And I still like listen to those words. But she also did have a lot of fear behind that statement, because, you know, the doctors know what they're saying, and like, you know, just like learn about the medicine and learn about this. So she wanted me to be more informed about stuff. And that's the way she meant it. Or like, there was something within me. It's like, well, this is my body. I know my body. I know what it's telling me, and I'm done. So I literally like cold turkey went off everything, which maybe was not the best, but my body like went through the detox it needed to, and then like everything shifted. I went off birth control, I went off arthritis medication, I went off all the
things. Did it all. Good work.
I did it all. And that was 8 years ago that I really like made that big change. And then I changed my diet. So it was like one thing led to the next. It was like this little domino effect of like, I did this, and then like my diet changed. And then like, I actually was vegan for a long time, which like, that's a whole nother animal, but
no pun intended on that, vegan animal.
Right. So, but like, that's actually what brought me like a lot of conscious awareness to what I was putting in my body, because of like, you know, wondering about like the animal products and all of that. So then it made me realize that like, there's a lot of vegan food that's like really bad for you and super processed and horrible. And then I just like you said, I started taking products out of my home, like certain things that were super toxic, and just like making these shifts to like get rid of this product. Like, I changed my toothpaste, I changed my deodorant, I changed like the oils I was cooking with. So I started like incorporating different things back into my diet, like going a whole food diet. So it was just this beautiful journey of like, once you make like one little change, like just sticking to that one change, that's all you have to do, is have like one change that you make, and that can create the ripple effect of all the change in your life. And like, for people listening, like wanting to make these changes, the most important thing to know is like, a change isn't going to happen in a month or overnight, or like maybe even in a year. Like, this was a journey of like 5 years for me of like going to a non-toxic side. And like now I fully am like non-toxic. I'm very conscious about products and everything, but I'm also not extreme, like, you know, so there's like that next level to it. Then like you figure everything out, you're a know-it-all, and then you like have to like go through it all again. Like I know nothing. Like a psychedelic, when you do psychedelics, you think you know all the things, and then you get knocked down by ayahuasca and you're like, I now know nothing. Let's start over.
Severe humbleness. You're like, oof, I had a slice of humble pie. Well, exactly. I think you said something really great in there, and I was happy that you kind of ran with that again too. Like I feel like we're connected on this. Where like you're kind of in my head before I say what I want. Like I'm like, please talk about this, and you go there, which is awesome. But it was when, and it was when you were saying just do one thing at a time, just something small. In today's world and in today's society, like I know I get inundated all the time where like so-and-so is saying avoid this, so-and-so said this is bad, and then I have to do this, and I have to do this. And so we get this paralysis by, I used to call it paralysis by analysis, but now it's paralysis by over-analysis, where you're just getting constantly pounded with somebody yelling from the rooftop, avoid this. Whereas in reality, just start simple. It could be just change a shampoo. Start there, or drink a little bit of extra water. Get some minerals in. Put a little salt in your water. Just start small, and then allow that to slowly change your habits and behaviors, and then you'll start feeling better. You're like, okay, there's something to this. And then the second part of it, which I'm like, please keep going, is it doesn't happen overnight. This is the worst time in the world, I think, for health and for well-being is now. And there's positives, but the context that I'm trying to use is that with the whole Amazon Prime fix, I call it like the Amazon Prime fix, where like I can get something shipped to me in 2 hours. And it's like, boom, it happens, or I can get it overnight, or 2-day shipping, or whatever it might be. We expect those same results. And in fact, a lot of times we demand those same results of our bodies. But say we've been using these toxic chemicals for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, and you just stop using it for a week and you're like, I'm not noticing anything different, or my hair doesn't, like, you have to give it time and go through that detox and know consciously and emotionally, embody, like, I'm changing something a bit at a time. It's going to take time to see the results, but it's like planting a garden. A garden doesn't grow overnight. Tend to the soil. Make sure the soil is abundant. Make sure it has the nutrients it needs. The same exact thing happens with your body. And I would encourage more people to understand that, especially if they're going this route, because the last thing I'd want to do is somebody books a call with you, works with you for like a month, and like, I don't like this. And like, well, dude, I worked with you once. Like, what did you want me to do? So like, I wanted to do that in a way. It's like protect you in a way, but also allow people to know, like, it's going to take time and repetition. And it can be, a little bit scary at first, maybe, because you don't know, but this is where you hire somebody like Dana to help you to navigate this dark world of the unknown. And it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I think
a lot on that. Yeah, no, it was necessary and it was beautiful. I think that is so important, just to like go in on that aspect of just it doesn't happen overnight. It's such a big thing. And I feel like my purpose here, like I, as a hairstylist, as a person, as like all the things that I am in my life, a sister, an auntie, like all of these things, like I think like the emotional aspect is really big too, because like what you were saying with like people thinking that it's going to happen in a month. Well, it's like, as you're shifting things externally, internally, things have to shift as well. Yeah. So that's just something to like really notice, that like if you're changing all your products, like you can go throw everything away in your house and then bring all the organic products in. But if you're not really wanting to make that change for you, like coming back to like what we were saying about Posh Spice and doing it because you saw it and like because it's trending, because everybody says you have to do it. It's like really connecting to that. What does my body need? What do I need for myself? And that's like really the era we're coming into now. It's like cutting out all the noise, cutting out social media, cutting out all the things outside of ourselves that tell us what we need to be, and aligning with your truth, your essence, and yourself, and just like, what do I need? What do I want? How do I want to shift? How do I want to make these changes?
Yeah.
And that's like another big aspect to that too, I think. So
But a step two on that, I think, is when you, because Megan's done this and I've called her out on it. It's so easy to get Instagram influenced. And so if you come up with an idea, Instagram is so tricky in that we're so mindless when we're doing it. We scroll, and then it'll feed us. The algorithm will feed us the same content. And then all of a sudden, it'll seem like it's your idea of like, hey, I would like to do this. Megan was like, I want to go here. And I'm like, hold on a second. That sounds great. But is that your idea or is that Instagram's idea? She got a little mad at first, but I'm like, but honestly, like, because last time we did what Instagram told us to do, we went to Tulum and we stayed at the Azaleak because it said it was a great spot. And it's nice, but it smelled like shit. It was disgusting. And the bathtub and the shower situation was terrible. And then she found a poisonwood tree. It's like the Jacque and the chaga tree or something. So she got like poison ivy basically. And we're like, holy shit. No. Before we do something like that, again, coming back to like awareness, is this actually your choice and decision, or were you mindlessly programmed to come up with that idea? So the embodiment piece in the, is it mine or does it belong to me, I think is huge, especially when it comes into this side of things.
Yeah. 1000%.
Yeah.
Immediately what I think of too is I love like talking to my clients about human design and astrology and all of those and knowing your authority and how you make decisions, because some of us make decisions from a gut instant knowing, like that's me. I have a gut instinct. I know instantly if something is a yes or a no for me. I just have to check in with my body, where I have friends who are feelings people and they need sometimes 3 days before they make a decision on something. And when they do the instant yes or no, that's really what gets them in trouble. And having those like authentic no's are the things that really like help us like find the right yeses for us. Like saying a sacred no is like so important for things in life. Like as women especially, I think like coming into ourselves and being able to say no to something is like the most profound thing that we can do to help us with like our boundaries and like what we want to like really have. Like that yes is like then so much more impactful. So like having those authentic no's are like, yes, that's where it's at.
I love that. I feel like we could go like generationally talking about like generational curses and generational thought patterns that are passed on from grandparents to parents to who we are today. And then, you know, when we do become parents, it's like women have it the hardest. And I feel for that. And I tell Megan, I'm like, man, I feel so fucking bad for you guys. Like you go through so much shit, not only just like the fact you have to carry a child in your belly and grow it, but you have to deal with all the societal pressure. And now it's like, well, you have to be a boss babe and you have to kick out a baby. And then you also have to have a 7-figures job. Otherwise you're failing. And then you also have to look like Kim Kardashian post bit. And there's like so much guilt, shame, all of that associated with that. And generationally too, we pass it down where sometimes we can get this unsolicited judgment from our parents of like, oh, it was so easy, or oh, I don't know why you can't keep a tidy home. Like I've got patients whose parents come in and they're like, oh, I can tell you didn't have time to clean up today. And if you just had like a solid no or a solid boundary, like get the fuck out. I don't have time for childish insults right now. I got a child of my own. Get the fuck out. Like I don't have it. Go. But encouraging people to say no more, I feel allows us to walk more congruently. And then we're in a world where, again, depression and anxiety is on a steep uprise. Like it's just constantly going up. And when we keep saying yes, even though we want to say no, to me, it's like a sacred form of disrespect to the body, like at the deepest level. Like, you know, it should be a no, but you're still like, yeah, I'm going to sacrifice myself because it's easier than confronting you. And then it dims our light and dims our light. And then you see the anxiety and depression go up because you're disrespecting your body. Do you see that a lot of times too? I know it might not have to deal with like the hairstyle thing, but I know you do some other work too. Do you see that a lot?
Oh yeah. And actually I think it's very, very, also in the salon, actually, when like, you ask people, like a lot of times people will say like, oh, I trust you, just do what you want. And I'm like, no. I need you to give me some guidance. Like, and I create relationships with my clients, and after doing their hair for some time, like I take that and I accept it and I run with it. But like if I just like met you, I'm like, no, I need you to say yes or no to things. I need you to tell me, because people just like want to like not make decisions in life, not want to do all these things. And I think there's an overlap in the hair industry, or as a stylist, actually as a professional, like saying no, like you said, to like clients, like get the fuck out, like saying no to the things that don't light you up, because like for so long I was so about the hustle and getting so many people through my doors and like hustle, get the next one in and out. And like I was in a salon where it was all about the hustle. And now I'm like, no, it's like, if I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. Like you're not, like, the person's not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy. Like it's just going to be like, there's going to be a more resentment like through me doing that than actual like beautiful, good energy. So like me passing it off to like another stylist or sending them to another salon, like that's my sacred no too, like, because I want to do the things that light me up, and I want to have the clients that light me up. And like that's where like really the shift I've made, like that's the people who sit in my chair that like we have great energy together, we communicate great together, and like that's my soul clients, my soul people. And that's like the shift I've created in my space. I absolutely love every single day I go into my salon, and it's because I've had to have a lot of hard conversations. I've had to say no a lot, and I've had to have those like conscious conversations, really is what it is. It's like the consciousness doesn't mean that you just get to like be above everything. It means that you have to like get into the hard shit, and you have to have the hard conversations, and you have to say no, and you have to connect to your heart and know how that guides you. And that's like,
I could attest to this too with myself, where like I am overly confident that I'm always like, not always, I used to be this way, where I'm like, I'd show up at a new barbershop and I'm like, I'll give you creative freedom, do what you want. I was like, worst case scenario, I'll shave my head, I look good. Like it's not a big deal to me. But when I was doing that, I would get out of the chair, and then I didn't have the ability to confront, because like when somebody's working on my hair, for whatever reason, it takes about an hour for somebody to cut my hair. I don't know why it takes that long, but I guess it does. Everyone else is in and out of the chair. Other barbers, they cycle through like 3 people. My hair apparently is like hedge clipping. I don't know. But at the end of it, I'm like, you put so much time into this. I'm like, you're going to show me the mirror, but like, I don't really like it, but I'm not going to tell you I don't really like it, because I don't want you to occupy it. And then I would leave, and I would have like this, well, I guess it's a hat week, and I'll just put a hat on my head until the next time to like sit in a chair again. But then I found barbers, and like, hey, this is what I'm going for. Kind of like match it to my head, see what you think there, and then we'll critique it and we'll make it better as we go. And from like a self-confidence standpoint, you don't realize how big of a shift it can make. But for a guy, like I get my hair cut every 3-4 weeks or so, and I have to, otherwise I get a bush on my head. But you know, it helps to fill you up and make you feel like you're respecting yourself, and it helps you with more of that self-love. There's a lot to that.
Also with like what you said, like the critiquing, like I'm so open to criticism and like critique, because like that is so important for me. Like I open up such a space for my clients, like, no, if you don't like this, like I can adjust it, I can do this, like please just tell me. And then, you know, I'll text them and be like, how's your hair feeling? Like, is there anything you need to adjust? Because I won't know those things unless you tell me that you don't like something. And if you don't ever tell me you don't like something, I'm going to give you this hair that you don't like however many times, or you're probably not going to come back. And I'd rather make you happy and have that criticism. And like, it doesn't affect me, because it's just my style. I did it, like I'm doing my art, and like, you're ultimately the one like that has to wear it around all the time. So like, you got to be comfortable walking around always. So like that criticism and that critique, I know so many stylists that have such an ego up, like when they get told that they don't like something, they're like, ugh. And I'm like, fix it, make it better. Like it's their hair, you know, like don't take it so personally. It's not a personal thing. It's a personal thing for them. Like they're all that matters.
And I think,
again, coming with your heart versus your ego.
And I think it comes from an awesome point where there's a book. This is back in Pittsburgh when I think we were moving out of Pittsburgh. We were moving to Phoenix, and I found this book, and business was good. But I'm like, you know, all of my previous predecessors, like you have to grind, you have to get thousands of patients in them. Like you have to work your face off. and this book came, and I had it since chiropractic school, and I never opened it. It was called The No New Patient Solution. I'm like, it's the weirdest sounding book in the world. I open it, I read it in a night, and I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, no new patient solution. Basically, it's applicable to any form of business. And it's basically you have clients and you take care of the people wholeheartedly. You don't worry about people coming in. You take care of them. And then what happens is they become kind of like your street team. They'll go and tell people about you. So the better you treat the person in the chair, or the better you treat the person in person on a call, whatever it might be, then they're going to feel something that they probably haven't felt their entire life, and they're going to tell other people, and they're going to want to come, and they're going to want to experience it. So when you're coachable and someone's like, hey, you know what, Dana, I know we chose this color last time. I thought maybe it was going to be good. It didn't really look that great. We got some pictures taken. I would like it this way this time. If you're like, oh yeah, absolutely, I can completely understand. And you do it, and you make any critiques or changes. Again, like you said, most stylists have this ego about them. If you're like, cool, yeah, let's do it. Come on in, I'll fix it, or I'll do whatever I need to make it right for you. Then they're gonna be like, whoa. And then if they just tell Susie down the street that they went to Dana and Dana did this, they're like, my stylist yells at me every time I do that, and I hate my stylist. I've been looking for another one. So then, so more people come to you, and when you light up with that schedule, some people don't know this. I know you do, but the energetic channels open up where people start flowing to you. And it's like you love what you do, and people who love what you do are going to come to you, and you're going to have amazing people on the schedule for you to be able to take care of. Do you notice that as well?
1000%. Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it. And then, because I know we're running out here on time, I wanted to do a couple things here. Number one, if you had, like, we'll say top 5 or however many, top 5 products that, like, if you're listening to this, if you're like, get rid of these top 5 products that you probably have in your home right now, what would they be?
Like a specific, like, hairspray or this
Sure.
or that.
Yeah.
Well, weirdly, my mind went to toothpaste and deodorant.
Okay.
I don't know why. So like shifting those.
Yeah.
And then any drugstore product, anything that's like drugstore or not professional, I would just throw it all away. Drugstore especially. If you have Not Your Mother's or Batiste or, anything like that, just throw it away.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. The toothpaste thing, I think I know why you said it, was because I almost brought it up. The deodorant thing was the first thing that Megan got upset with me about, because I made her change her deodorant when we started dating. The toothpaste thing we just talked about the other night, because the kids will just eat the fucking toothpaste. They're just, and if you look at Crest and Colgate, it says, if swallowed, call poison control. I'm like, kids are using this. Not only that, there's fluoride and stuff in it, which is a known neurotoxin. But yeah, those are easy things that you can swap out. For me, if someone's like, hey, what would you use? Me personally, there's, I think it's called Primal Palette, Primal something. It's a powder toothpaste, works really great. It has, I think it's nanohydroxyapatite in it as well. It's a calcium restore remineralizer in there too. And then deodorants, there's a ton of natural ones you could do, and stay the hell away from antiperspirants. The stuff that blocks you from sweating is some of the most toxic stuff, and it also has a huge link with breast cancer too, because it basically keeps all those toxins in the lymph, and your breast can't get rid of them. So just a side note tangent on that. Other than that, because this conversation has been great, how can people find you? Where the heck are you? What services do you offer? People love you. How do they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. My name is Dana of Earth on Instagram. And I have a website, emberrevival.com. My website, you can do online booking through there for professionals and clients. So if you want to book a Zoom journey, I have those as virtual on my booking link, so you can book those. And it's literally open and customized to all, like, whoever calls in. There's not really like a set platform or a set plan that I follow. It's really customizable to each person who calls and books that. And sometimes it's only an hour, sometimes it can even go to 2 hours. So however much information you need is dependent on that. So, and then I will be posting like all my updated stuff on Instagram. I always post on there and just share like what guides and things I'm working on in my world, I do have a non-toxic hair guide on my website on emberrevival.com. If
Awesome.
you put your email in, it sends it to you for free. So that's also just a freebie guide that anyone can access there. So
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Dana, for jumping on the show today. I think this is going to bring a lot of awareness at the very least for hair products and things, and then being able to give somebody a source instead of just saying it's bad and then good luck, figure it out. Giving somebody, a direction, go meet with you virtually or in person and figure out what they need to do in order to take their hair care to the next level. So thank you for being on here today. I really appreciate it.
yeah, thank you so much. And I just really hope that this is an activation for stylists, especially women and professionals in the beauty industry, to really think about what they're doing and start creating the change and really being the change you want to see in the world.
I love
it.
It
all starts within us. So
awesome.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.